Welcome back to the Marketing Madmen on Extra 106.3. Nick Constantino here with Tripp Jobin and Gar Hogan. All right, so we're going to finish up on Seeger because we got some other issues we want to cover. If we didn't want to take this audience on a ride, this will be it. So first off, favorite song to listen to and favorite song to perform, because those are different things.
They are.
Go ahead, give us that, and we'll go to the last question.
Easy one, favorite song to listen to, Against the Wind. It won every award ever that year. And it's just a beautiful song on every level. Favorite to perform, hands down, it's called Roll Me Away. And not a lot of people know the song. If you are listening, when this podcast is over, go to Spotify, Roll Me Away by Bob Seger. I swear you will not regret it.
I'm going to do it. Now you have to do me a favor. You have to send me a version of you recording a couple of these songs, and we will embed it into the song. So we'll put some live stuff from you doing it, and we'll put it at the end. We'll mix it into the breaks and everything. So Flounder, I don't know if you're going to do the work or I'm going to, but I just put some on you.
I'll get it to you.
That'd be awesome. I think that's a great way, fun way to do this.
Absolutely.
All right. So the last question, because we have not talked marketing yet. Intellectual property, bad, not marketing. So give the 30-second elevator pitch for Bob Seger and why. Let's call it a 16-year-old. Let's call it a 40-year-old. People who may not have been seeing that or knowing these stories, why they should give them a listen.
So first of all, if you're over 50, it's because it's going to make you feel like you felt at 16 when you were listening to rock and roll. That one's fairly easy. 40, I'll tell you the reason every 40-year-old in my audience, when I say, you like Bob Seger? I say, I grew up, my parents listened to nothing but Bob Seger, and I love it. 16 years old, let's call it 20, because, and it happens, we'll be in a club and we'll get some very young people, and I see them, guess what they do? They go right to the dance floor. My band, just like Seger's band, is a kick-ass rock and roll band. We make you move. We do the same thing that Chuck Berry did, that the Beatles did. Yeah. We make you get up and move and feel the rhythm.
Love it. That's a pretty good pitch, man.
Yeah,
it
sounds good. You might even get some of these 20-year-olds jump dancing.
Well, I
right?
think a lot of the problem on Earth is people don't dance enough. I think COVID screwed up so much of the world that they're not out dancing enough, and there's no better feeling on Earth than to just completely lose yourself. I won't talk about what you have to do to get to a mental state to do that. We'll save that for another show.
Real quick, and then we're going to jump into to the other topic. But where do you typically play? Where can people see you here in Atlanta?
A great place to start is one of the best rock and roll. Okay, Kay, I know you're going to hear this. Best rock and roll bars south of Atlanta, and it's called Southern Roots Tavern. It's on the square in McDonough. We'll be there Saturday night.
Cool.
Pretty much sold out, but if you come up and you say, well, you won't hear this till March, but you'll hear the next time we're back there. Southern Roots is a great place. There's a couple of great bars up way up in Cumming called Rosati's and the Well. Those are good places.
I've been to Rosati's many times. So
I love it, and I hope we get back to our roots. I hope, and that's one of the things. Like, you got to leave the city to see that kind of stuff, man. Those kind of bars, those are like roadhousey feeling, like saloons. We just all right. So
hold on. If there's a club owner inside the perimeter that wants rock and roll shows, please call or find me at tribman.com.
There's not many, man. Blind Willie's, Northside Tavern. You don't have many left in here anymore.
Places to hear for people of my generation, and my generation, we spend money. We have 70% of the wealth.
It's a good way. There you go. There's our marketing pitch. That's a good way to say it. All right, so let's tackle the last issue. So because we've had so much time talking about all this fun stuff, I do want to tackle homelessness because it's something that you've dedicated a lot of your life to in your older years. Look, it's a conversation that we can have a million ways to next Tuesday. But as opposed to talking about what the problem is and what the root of the problem is, let's start talking with some solutions. So I understand you have some complex understanding that people don't as a lawyer. You've probably seen a lot of this country because of touring and seeing what the world looks like. You probably have a unique perspective. Tell us a couple of the ways to tackle the issue, why it's become so pervasive, and what you think the next couple of years look like of fighting this.
There's something, there's a movement or something that's starting off in, I think there are 10 cities in America doing this. It's called law enforcement diversion. So let's start by what the problem is. Every city in America, I mean, I don't know if smaller places have these same problems, but our jails are totally overcrowded. They've become death traps. Nobody wants that, and they're sucking all the money out of city budgets. Number two, unhoused people, homeless people on the streets. No matter who you are, if you're a social worker, if you're a banker, when you drive down the street and you see these human beings in the cold, living under cardboard, we all feel like gosh, we got to do better with this, right? And then untreated mental illness. It's the only thing at the national government level we all agree on. And that is, we need to help Americans who have challenges with mental health.
Yeah.
Some people just feel bad more than they should.
Yeah.
And on the other end of the spectrum, some people are struggling with things like schizophrenia that in your early 20s, one day you just wake up and you're hearing voices and they're saying, go hurt people. So these are things that all Americans are impacted by. And guess what? It's only going to get way worse.
And it's a burden on tax systems. And here's the thing I say, the biggest problem that we have with police is people expect police to be fixing these issues, right? Police are not trained to help with mental health issues. Police are trained to stop crime. And these people are not committing crimes. These people are being put in positions where this is the only thing that they know to do. So I think part of it, I think you approach it the right way. You're speaking this from an economic standpoint and saying, look, to reduce the drain on society and to fix some of these other issues, we have to tackle this at its root. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, and there's a little angle that I didn't know until I started to work in this field. And it's not just the cost of running jails, it's the cost of Grady's emergency room. Because this population, we don't even think about this, when they have any kind of medical problem, they go into an emergency room. It's the most expensive delivery system for medical care because you have to have doctors and nurses who are trained for the worst.
My father was the CEO of Elmhurst Hospital in Queens, and Elmhurst Hospital in Queens is the #1 area in the country for illegal immigrants, and it has the most languages spoken of anywhere in the world. There are 256 languages spoken within about a 30-block radius is how many people live there.
So who knows? Some people know why people are living out on the streets. Complex problem. And the answer is if there's a million people, there's a million different reasons. But we also know as a society, it's dragging us down. Not some because we feel bad for them, some because we don't want to pay tax dollars, some because we'd like to walk through the park and have it be clean and our kids safe. Okay, so how do we fix it? Well, there is a way that's working in some American cities. Nothing fixes everything. In other words, this approach isn't going to get every person under shelter because a lot of times there's a severe mental illness problem that makes a person not be able to respond to rational offers of help. But setting that aside, and those problems are medical problems to side, we need to take the criminal justice element out of it. It's working in 10 cities. In Atlanta, the organization I work for called PAD, look it up. It's a great organization if all you can do is just give a little something. But PAD is one of 10 cities. What they do is they say services, not jail cells. I don't want to say it's complicated, but there's not time to tell you today exactly how it works, but it is working. In these 10 cities, it's dramatically reducing the cost of jailing and giving emergency medical care. I have to imagine
the trick behind it is to give purpose to people. And most people, when given purpose, respond well to be given purpose, whether it be a job, whether it be just a shower, whether it be a place to get clean. I mean, you've all seen the videos of these people getting makeovers and then walking into these interviews in a completely different way they're seen. So, look, just tell us how people can help support that mission, and then we're going to wrap this up.
Go to the website, PAD, Policing Alternative Diversion. But step 2 is purpose. Step 1 is give a police officer the authority to not arrest that person for an incredibly small crime, but to get them to a place that's going to help them. It's both of those things.
I love
Gar,
it.
thanks so much. Really enjoyed it. A lot of.
Did you think we were going to go from intellectual property to Seeger to homeless to unhousedness?
You never know.
You never know.
We're on the Marketing Madmen. You've been listening to us. Now listen to Fire Lake. Hopefully here around Atlanta sometime.
TRIB, tribman.com. Come see me.
Love it.
All right. You've been listening to the Marketing Madmen on Extra 106.3. We'll be back next week.